Wow, it was a bona fide heron neighborhood now. The east had mated, successfully I hoped, and only a few dozen yards away, the Wests were busy taking care of their two chicks. To protect the chicks from predation, one of the Wests was always in the nest with them. Baby chicks are easy prey for snakes, hawks, owls, or even other herons. A West parent, male, female, hard to tell, had been standing guard all night, and as the sun began to rise, was probably really hungry. Even thinking about munching a dragonfly. Nope, not fast enough. The East had made a lot of progress in the last few days and were still working to expand their nest for their possible new arrival. The sun was rising higher on what was going to be a busy day in the West household. Their bobble-headed little chicks were growing really fast. It may be a safety measure that both herons don't stay in the nest overnight. One would always seem to be off somewhere. In the pre-dawn hours, I've often seen great blue herons standing in the shallows of the lake. Is that where they spend the night? Spending the night elsewhere means that heron gets to hunt and feed, maybe storing up energy for their turn to stand guard the next night. I don't really know. And even an empty heron nest is fair game for squatters, so they'll want to make sure another bird doesn't take advantage of all their hard work. By guarding their nest, the Easts seemed to be mindful of potential home invasions. They continued to nuzzle each other and add to the nest, while things over at the West household were strictly routine. Still seemingly intimate with one another, the Easts were settling in, taking breaks to preen their feathers and enjoy a little freedom before the real work of parenting started. For the West, the honeymoon was definitely over. Out on the edge of the world, the East worked as a team to enlarge their nest, and I sat on the ground and continued to record them as they did, always watching for any change in activity over at their neighbors. Mr. East tries to break off a living branch, decides it isn't going to budge, and then is followed by Mrs. East, who does the same thing, as if she doesn't trust his judgment. Yep, newlyweds. And like newlyweds, they couldn't resist a little snuggle time. But under the watchful eyes of the Wests. Do I detect a little jealousy from the neighbors? Probably not. Some softer materials were now coming to the East nest at regular intervals to pad it with in anticipation of the new arrival. If I was in fact successful on March 24th capturing them mating, then according to my research, the chicks would be arriving in late April. And what about the chicks in the west nest? They were growing, and my goal was to capture them in a feeding. That's easier said than done. Was I successful? Check out the next episode.